Thank you very much, Mr. President. And we're now going to hear from the President of Ethiopia. Sorry, Prime Minister of Ethiopia.
Excellency, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Excellency, President of the Federal Republic of Somalia, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express my heartfelt appreciation to the warm and friendly welcome accorded to my delegation in the great city of London. Let me also take this opportunity to express my gratitude on behalf of my government and that of IGAD to the initiative made by His Excellency David Cameron to organize this gathering for the second time in as many years with a view to finding lasting solutions to a region and a country that has been bedeviled by conflict for decades on end. This is commendable in the light of the great contribution that last year's London conference had in the successful completion of the roadmap that led to the establishment of the current legitimate federal government in Mogadishu. It's my hope and expectation that today's deliberation will also go some way in expediting the overall institutional building process that is underway in Somalia at the behest of the federal government, as well as in bringing the international community's pressure and support to bear on the monumental task of finding lasting peace and stability, not just in Somalia, but also throughout the region as a whole. Excellencies, this conference is very important for a number of reasons. First and foremost, it will point the ways and means of building on the success that the Somali process has registered so far, and to help improve the many shortfalls that still confront all stakeholders in the region. More importantly, it will help further consolidate the federal government's own strategies and policies to expedite the state building process it has already undertaken. In this regard, the slow process of implementing the six-pillar strategy of the government will hopefully gather new momentum. The efforts to create a security apparatus that is inclusive and fully representative of the cross-section of the Somali population needs to be jump-started if the gains that have been made so far could as well have happened in Addis Ababa or Nairobi or even in London. That's of course one reason why we in the neighborhood have been paying tremendous sacrifices in our fight against Al-Shabaab in Somalia and beyond. This conference will also hopefully contribute and further inform the efforts underway to find ways to expedite the process of establishing functioning state institutions, both at the center as well as in the peripheries. The capacity of the federal institutions to deliver basic services to citizens leaves so much to be desired, and as such, maximum effort needs to be exerted to work on this particular deficit if we are to have a Somali population that could place confidence in its own institutions' capacity to deliver services. This is doubly important mainly because this will deny alternative sources of authority in Somalia, both malign and benign, the opportunity to challenge the legitimacy and authority of the federal authorities in Mogadishu. There is an urgent need for building functional government structure and institutions at all levels for the delivery of basic services. Establishment of local and regional administrations and the stabilization of such regions require urgent and coordinated efforts to further isolate Al-Shabaab and build confidence of the Somali people in the future of their own country. There are still millions internally displaced persons and refugees awaiting their return home and rehabilitation. We recognize that the federal government of Somalia is doing its level best to mitigate this challenge, but the magnitude of the problem demands a coordinated effort of all stakeholders. The effort to establish credible and regional administrations that will serve as the building blocks of a functioning federal Somalia must be given further impetus. It's my hope and expectation that this conference will contribute to the regional efforts aimed at the resolution of the current impasse in some parts of Somalia. All along, primacy should be given to the principles enunciated by IGAD, namely leadership of the government of the Federal Republic of Somalia in the process, respect of the provisional constitutions by all stakeholders, all-inclusive consultative process with the people of Somalia, supportive role of IGAD based on its priorities of the Somali government, and fighting the Al-Shabaab as a primary focus of the Somali government, AMISOM, regional and international partners, and further request to the Somali federal government to align its priorities with the aforementioned agreed 5 principles. Excellencies, while the conference will certainly have contribution in helping the Somali stakeholders move forward in their effort to resolve their problems, it's however the role of the Somalis themselves that does not and should carry the most weight. It is important to understand that outsiders cannot substitute for the Somalis in all the efforts to resolve the current impasse among the many actors within Somalia. We can and should only play a facilitating and monitoring role in the entire process. It is imperative that the process of stabilization be Somali-owned and Somali-led. Having said that, however, there are very many advantages that this conference could help generate. First, this will create a valuable opportunity to harmonize the international community's efforts to support the political process in Somalia and to avoid the rather counterproductive proliferation of initiatives from different quarters, however well-intentioned. Second, it will help mobilize the resources necessary to build the capacity of Somali state institutions to deliver services to citizens, the absence of which could ultimately erode the legitimate authority that the government wields. In this regard, the international community's support for strengthening the Somali security apparatus should be given top priority. But more importantly, this conference will help in reorienting the focus of the international community's support from its heavy focus on security to a long-term rebuilding and reconstruction of the country. In this regard, the international community should go beyond promises and do everything it can to back words with action on the ground. The enterprising people of Somalia deserve all the help we can provide in order to put their house together. Excellencies, it's not my intention to talk at length about the advantage of having a Somali at peace with itself and the nation, with the institutional capacity to take care of the needs of its citizens in many, if not all aspects of their lives. Suffice it to say that a vibrant, functioning and peaceful Somalia means the difference between the series of debilitating crises that characterize the region and an economically integrated region that can contribute to global development as well as international peace and stability. We as neighbors are more than eager to close the chapter of conflict that has sapped most of our resources and imperiled our resources for far too long, and open a new one where the issue of peace and security goes to the back burner and economic cooperation and development comes at the center stage. Let me therefore conclude by reiterating the commitment of my government and that of IGAD to contribute their share in this noble endeavor and our readiness to join hands with our partners in the international community. I thank you for your kind attention.